I just read that Ellume is recalling hundreds of thousands of home coronavirus test kits over false positive concerns. I mean, I guess that's better than a false negative, but what happens here? How likely are these tests to be wrong?
Yeah, so this is when the kind of the real world application, of course, in the emergency authorization, and most of these tests, even Ellume included, had very high levels that they reported of being right when they're right, and if you're negative, it's truly negative. And as you point out, not just Ellume, but there have been, recall that FDA has taken away many of these rapid tests for some of these similar claims, or when they find out that they're not working the way they're supposed to. And I think when we look in the real world, Becky, it looks like across the board, they can be right about 60 to 75% of the time, because we are getting people who aren't using them correctly. We also have a lot of people who are using them, again, when they have no symptoms, for screening for employer purposes. So this comes back to that ever conundrum. This is one thing that can help us in our kind of toolkit. Vaccines, of course, reign supreme. And now we have these oral drugs, antibodies, and treatments in the hospital. So I think all of these things collectively could give Americans a lot more confidence in 2022.
One of the things I've been using them for is making sure we all take the test before we go see my parents, especially because I'm concerned about some immune issues in that setting. If nobody has any symptoms, we all get a negative test back and we go. Is there a chance that one of us could be shedding virus, being infected and shedding coronavirus to the point where it might infect them?
A much higher chance if someone's not vaccinated, which, of course, if you've got children under the age of 12, that's us. So, yes, of course, if you're vaccinated, those negative tests are pretty good at least just giving you some confidence. But I like to remind patients you can't test your way out of COVID. So there's always that small chance. And as we're going into holiday season, you're raising an important point, Becky. Not a bad idea to have those tests, use them, but also thinking about limiting kind of your movements aside from travel before you go to see someone who's high risk. And then certainly testing after, because if you can pick it up then, you can warn anybody that you were in contact with.
Speaking of, when do you think we'll actually see the vaccination approved for kids age 5 through 11?
Well, the FDA put down that milestone of an October 26th advisory committee meeting. We're still waiting to see the details of the Pfizer emergency authorization application. But given all this, I do have optimism that we'll have some action by the FDA advisory committee. Then quickly after that, the CDC's advisory committee, hopefully something in time for those spooky ghosts. But keep in mind, all our children need 2 shots separated by 3 weeks, and then immunity after that second shot. So we're talking more around the Thanksgiving, Christmas season.